Still to this day, I don't fully understand why people will still say to me, I didn't know that there was a black pilot that day.
The best way I can describe it is it's when you're a child and you see a parent or an adult become afraid. And I think that is a unique experience. And I watched my classmates get pulled out of school early, and people started to go out, and at the end of the day, it just didn't go the way we expected.
And one of the guys was like, "Oh my God, did you hear what happened to the World Trade?" I was like, "What are you talking about?" So my friend was saying, "Nothing happened. She just got off the phone with her mom." He said, "No, something just happened. Try calling her again."
And then all of a sudden, I heard this loud noise from the kitchen, and it was a bunch of the guys were like, "Whoa, look at that. Did you see that?" I saw that it was a plane in the building. I thought it was a movie, and I couldn't tell the difference. And the only way that I knew that what I was looking at was real is that I saw the news reporters reporting on the fact that a plane went into the building.
The buildings meant a lot to different people for different reasons, and so to see them on fire was traumatic enough. Then to watch them collapse, I still get that feeling in my gut, and I think that's how most New Yorkers felt.
Hello, my name is Marcus Stewart, and I'm with the Education Department here at the 9/11 Memorial and Museum. You know, the attacks of September 11, 2001 was a tragedy that affected people of all backgrounds and ages, but as with many moments in American history, we often hear just some of the stories of both loss and triumph, while others are absent. Ensuring that the Black voices of 9/11 are also preserved and shared is essential to our mission here at the 9/11 Memorial and Museum, and our commitment to never forgetting everyone who was impacted. This film will elevate many of those stories. So, let's begin by learning about the life and passions of one of the youngest victims from that day, Asia Cottom.
Asia Cottom was 11 years old in 2001 and had just begun her first year of middle school in Washington, D.C. when she was chosen to attend a National Geographic Society conference in the Channel Islands off the California coastline. Asia ended up being one of 3 D.C. area public school students who were killed on that flight, along with Bernard Brown and Rodney Dickens. But as her mother described it, Asia was also very much turning at the age of 11 into a girly's girl. And part of that was finding a new interest in fashion and makeup and Barbie dolls. And so what we have here is actually a towel that was donated by Asia's mother depicting a black Barbie doll, and this belonged to Asia. And so I personally have found this object to be very humanizing and interesting because not only does it reflect a passion that Asia had during her lifetime, but also something that I believe she could have seen herself in. And I think that in itself is something that would resonate with countless visitors or those who look at this object, both children and adults, and helps to connect them to Asia's story a lot better.
"441 first responders were killed on 9/11, including 12 black firefighters, all members of the FDNY's Vulcan Society. Named after the Roman god of fire, it was formed in 1940 at the encouragement of Chief Wesley A. Williams, the first African-American chief in department history, to confront head-on the pervasive racial discrimination faced by the department's black personnel. Those 12 black firefighters killed were as critical a piece in the city's response as any of the 343 firefighters killed that day. And we should honor not just their sacrifice, but their identity and their struggle. To do that, you're now going to hear from Regina Wilson, the current president of the society, and from our collection, the words of Vernon Cherry.
So this artifact, which belonged to one firefighter who was killed on the morning of 9/11, born in Queens, New York, firefighter Vernon Cherry was a 29-year veteran of the FDNY when he was killed in 2001. At the time, he was working with Ladder 118. And when he wasn't with the FDNY, he would often moonlight as a wedding singer, often crooning to covers of Barry White and Frank Sinatra. And in addition to that, Vernon was also a member of the Vulcan Society, which was a group that was founded in 1940 to help advocate for black firefighters.
We are in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, and we are going to look at the community garden. This is the first Quincy Street community garden, and the garden was created from the neighborhood. One of the blessing things about this is that the community put their funds together, got this location to make sure that they put this memorial together to pay tribute to the 12 black firefighters that died during 9/11. Some of these firefighters live within the community, so it's great to be able to have some of the family members have a place where they can come in remembrance. And some of the firefighters currently live in this community as well. So every year during 9/11, we come here, we have a ceremony, invite the families, and we pay our respect and give homage to those that gave much more than we ever could have. And so we're honored to be able to contribute to this garden to help it flourish and grow. And we're also honored to make sure that we have this statue here, which is the only statue that gives honor to the 12 black firefighters that died within the whole city of New York.
So what we have here is actually a letter that Vernon left behind in his firehouse locker. It was found after his death on 9/11. And in it, he really muses about his feelings about being a black firefighter within the FDNY, and I will let his words speak for themselves. Within the walls of the firehouse, we each have a responsibility to ourselves to protect each other because of one common denominator, life. I worked 10 years in Brownsville, East New York, and Bedford-Stuyvesant, and all brother firefighters know that death in fires does not discriminate, and each of us who have been through that experience, be it the busy areas of the Bronx, Manhattan, Brooklyn, know the feeling of relief when a brother extends his hand, be it a black or white hand, to pull us back from the all-consuming brink of death. We don't ask to whose society a member belongs.
And so when you think about, again, when you think about bravery, when you think about heroism, when you think about caring for your community, when you're thinking about work ethics, when you think about people that get up every day and risk their lives, not knowing whether or not they're going to come home alive, like we all make that decisions, and people that look like me make those decisions.
I feel that as educators, we have a duty to teach this to the students. If we don't, who will? That's part of our job. And so that's one of the reasons that I wished it were required in every school in the United States of America that at least one lesson be taught on 9/11.
While many people know the story of heroism of those aboard Flight 93 and how they overcame the hijackers to potentially save thousands of others, far fewer know the name Leroy Homer Jr., the black first officer sitting in the co-pilot's seat that day. To better tell his story, you'll now hear from his wife Melody and 9/11 Memorial and Museum visionary Carlton Shelley as they discuss why it's important to continue to truthfully tell lesser-known 9/11 stories.
At the time, I was sort of in a headspace where I recognized that Leroy was left out of the story and people didn't understand what his role was that day. I did start to work with one of the films, and that was United 93. And there was this perception that because Leroy was the first officer, he did not know how to fly the airplane. So initially, when I started the Leroy Homer Foundation, I wanted Leroy's memory to be kept alive. And what I've realized is that when people come across the Leroy Homer Foundation, it's also a conduit back to allowing them to understand what happened that day.
And I think oftentimes we think about 9/11, we think about that together, and we pick a picture or a person, and that's like where we go by. Think about Captain America, we go, right? Sometimes we lose the Black Panther in that, right? Like they're a team. And so I think that being able to tell our stories are really important to not separate, but to highlight, like, hey, you were there.
I would love to encourage anyone that's lost a family member, friend, to share their story and to give background of that person, to bring their life to all the people that come here to visit. And again, it could be so helpful, it could be healing, and it could touch someone, and you never know who your story could touch.
Today, we are not that far from the 25th anniversary of 9/11 in 2026, and as we approach this important milestone, all of us here at the museum are working diligently to tell the stories that are far too often overlooked or lesser known, and we need your help to continue this worthy endeavor. We are always looking for new materials to acquire for our collection, new artifacts to showcase, and of course, new stories to tell. As the distance and time from 9/11 continues to grow, it becomes even more important these untold stories finally see the light of day. The museum continues to acquire materials for its collection, such as photographs, videotapes, voice messages, recovered property and other personal effects, clothing and uniform elements, World Trade Center workplace memorabilia, incident-specific documents, and original writings including letters, emails, and diaries that can help illuminate personal experiences during and after September 11, 2001, and February 26, 1993.